What's up guys, my name's Petey from Charlie Intel. So Raven Software is a studio working on the Call of Duty franchise and has been since 2010, and in recent years has been getting more and more involved in the franchise and working alongside the three big studios, which is Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games and Treyarch on some of the most recent games such as Black Ops 3, Advanced Warfare, Ghost, just to name a few, and more on top of that as well. So basically they've worked on a ton of Call of Duty games in recent years, and essentially they help out with stuff like single player content, multiplayer content and post-launch DLC. So a lot of the games you've played in the last 5 or 6 years, Raven has had some involvement, and most likely they've done some of the DLC you've been playing in recent years as well. So basically, they're a very competent studio, very skilled, and fast becoming one of the favourite developers in the Call of Duty franchise, given the fact, of course, they are now working on the legendary Call of Duty 4 Remaster from 2007, with Modern Warfare Remastered releasing in November 2016. They also worked on the Chinese exclusive Call of Duty Online, only available to those guys in China annoyingly, because it actually looks fairly interesting to play. And don't worry, I'll make a video on my channel fairly soon about it once I find some random Chinese VPN to connect to and it plays fairly decently. So in terms of what Raven have worked on in the Call of Duty franchise since 2010, they first began with Black Ops and they helped out with DLC and user interface. They then worked on multiplayer, single player elements, DLC and user interface for Modern Warfare 3 in 2011, before then working on Black Ops 2 with additional development. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I'm guessing they just helped Treyarch with several aspects of the game, before then moving on to Call of Duty Ghosts, and they worked on multiplayer, single player elements and DLC. They then released their own game, as I mentioned, the Chinese exclusive Call of Duty Online in 2014, and also assisted Sledgehammer Games with Advanced Warfare by doing multiplayer, Exo Zombies and DLC. Then, of course, Black Ops 3 came along and they assisted on the Redwood map. That looks like the only thing they did with that game, actually. So they didn't assist with anything else other than the Redwood map. So not quite sure why, but I guess there was some kind of technical reason for that. So they called in Raven. And then, of course, we have Modern Warfare Remastered releasing in 2016, which is Raven's own effort. It's their own game and no one's helping them with that. And they're not helping any other studio with that either. So essentially, I guess you could call it Raven's next new game after Call of Duty Online. So as you can see, the general trend is Raven primarily work on other people's games or other studios' games and occasionally do their own projects, but they're not really their own projects to the degree that they actually do something from scratch, but more so actually work on the foundation of other games. So with the remaster, they're just working on the foundation of Infinity Ward's work, but of course they're making it a lot better and making it support new next generation consoles, should I say, with Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, all that kind of stuff as well. So I guess Raven are always going to be the kind of side studio to the main three that's working on all the Call of Duty games that come out each year. So Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games and Treyarch will always be the three main studios with the 3-year cycle, and I don't think Raven can really fit into that cycle right now, and I don't think Activision would want to extend that into a 4-year cycle and have it so that Treyarch release a game every 4 years, Infinity Ward release a game every 4 years, and so on and so on and so on. I don't really think that's going to work in the long term. It involves spending more money on each studio to extend their work for another year, and ultimately that just costs Activision even more money for a franchise which is under pressure from the fan base at the moment for the kind of games they're outputting. So I think Raven will remain as a side project or a remastering studio for the foreseeable future, as opposed to fitting into the 3-year cycle or extending into a 4-year cycle and becoming the 4th studio to make Call of Duty titles. It's very unlikely that they'll extend that to 4 years. As I said, there's financial implications to that, and they've already gone from making it 2 years to a 3-year development cycle. So I don't really think they're going to go even further and make it a 4-year cycle either. So essentially, I think Raven are likely going to continue assisting the other 3 studios with their DLC, single player and multiplayer needs, alongside making remasters and also perhaps the odd side project as well. Because of course, remember, the other 3 studios are hard at work at making their current games or future games. So we have Infinity Ward still finalising Infinite Warfare, we have Treyarch working on 2018's game, we have Sledgehammer Games working on next year's game in 2017. So realistically, they're not going to drop their release in favour of Raven coming along in 2017 or 18 to release their own game as well. Interestingly, Raven did say that if they had the opportunity to release a game into the franchise, they'd make a game based in modern times. So in an interview with Charlie Intel, which of course is us, they had the following to say: I think given that we had Advanced Warfare, which was slight future, Black Ops 3, which is a little bit further future, and now we have Infinite Warfare, which is very far future, I think there are a good group of people at Raven that are like, hey, what if we were to bring this back to modern times? So I would say that's probably where we would start. We would go with what the team is excited about today, and that's definitely modern. So there we have it, Raven showing an interest in making a modern-based game in the Call of Duty franchise, which sadly we might not see for quite some time, unless of course they replace one of the current studios working on games in the 3-year cycle, or they go to a 4-year cycle, which I've already kind of mentioned, and I just can't see that happening because it means having 4 studios working at the same time, and then Activision will need to get another backup studio in case things fell through for each of the studios currently working on games. So ultimately, if we do see anything from Raven in the future, I think we might see more remasters or some side projects. Otherwise, any of the games you play in the next few years, Raven will likely be helping with the DLC, single player or multiplayer, so Raven definitely have some involvement in all the titles being developed each year in the Call of Duty franchise. Anyway guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, and also leave a like if you're excited for Modern Warfare Remastered releasing literally in a few weeks' time, and of course if you're excited for Raven potentially releasing a modern-based game into the franchise in the next few years. Whether or not that happens we don't know, but it's definitely a possibility. And as always, make sure you subscribe for further Charlie Intel content every 1 to 2 days on this channel. I appreciate all the likes and the comments and subscribers to my channel guys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.